Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to another 7 Deadly Sins video. So, today I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I wanted to go over my box. I know that I don't have anything like super crazy, but I just wanted to go over like some of the characters that I've really been liking using lately, and just different kinds of stuff associated with my box. Because after the Demon Mellie Otis banner, and I didn't have Demon Mellie Otis at the time, I pretty much just started kind of like leveling up my box and stuff like that, and so I wanted to go over just, some of the characters that are worth leveling up, and just, whether or not they're halfway decent. So, yeah, obviously, first boy is Escanor. Escanor is just insane. If you don't have Escanor at level 80, 6-star already, then you definitely need to work on that, or if you don't have him, I'm so sorry. Because he really is, like, he's so good. Like, I still use him for PvP, like in my PvP team, because he's like actually like an insane unit. Like, he's pretty tanky. His pierce rate is really good. What is his base pierce rate? Yeah, his pierce rate right now with my equipment is 99.5, but actually I don't think any of his equipment even has, I don't have equipment on him actually, so he's just 99.5. King has his equipment right now because I've been using him for different stuff, but yeah, he's insane, very good, leveling him up. Lilia just came out. She's obviously insane. She's a really good farming unit, plus she buffs Mellie Otis, or Blue Demon Mellie Otis, a ton, so definitely recommend it. She's good. I've been really working on my farming team lately. Unfortunately, I don't have the SSR penance to get my Mellie Otis any higher at the moment, but I'm working on it. The only reason Rimuru is here is because I got him to UR for the Ifrit raid when it was out, and then I was just starring him up for that whenever it was out. I actually ended up swapping, or before I got Rimuru all the way up, I actually was using Matrona Deanne. She's actually a pretty good unit. She's got a couple of decent skills. I think the Rupture was what I was using her for in Ifrit, but she's okay. She's a good King association, so I'm glad that I have her leveled up a little bit, so King can actually, get the benefits from that. Blue Demon Mellie Otis is self-explanatory. He's an insane farming unit, plus with Blue Lilia, he absolutely destroys in PvP, as long as you're not getting Valenti countered. So, he's cool. He's a good unit. I'm really happy that I have him now. My Red Demon Mellie Otis is actually probably one of my favorite units. Mainly just because of, I don't know, I really like his base outfits too. Like this one, I think? Yeah, with the cape. I really like that effect on his cape. He's just cool. He was the first Red Demon Mellie Otis to come out. I tried to summon for him on his first banner, and I don't think I ended up pulling him within the first couple of multis that I tried on it. So I ended up just buying him from the coin shop. He's really cool. I do like him a lot. I want to say I bought a copy of him. Yeah, I bought a copy of him from the coin shop when it was on sale, so that way he's 2/6. I don't know. He's just a good unit. He's very good for Howlix raids or Crimson, whichever you want to call that. But I don't know. I use him a lot for that specifically, so I don't know. If you want to invest into him, he's good for that, but I don't really use him for anything else. So it might have been a waste to get him to level 80, but it's going to help whenever Hell difficulty comes out for the demons. So I don't know. A lot of people have Red Arthur already at level 80. A lot of people use him for PvP. I don't use him for PvP at all, so that's why he's only level 75. I was powering him up there a lot in the beginnings because he's pretty much been in the game since the launch. So I was using him a lot at the very beginning of the game, and I got him up to level 75, and then I kind of just dropped off. I haven't used him for anything specific in a long time. His ultimate level is actually maxed now. I got it maxed out the other day because his coin was on sale in the gold coin shop, so I went ahead and maxed him out. He's a really good Merlin association, and I use Merlin for a lot of stuff, so that's always nice. I'll probably get him to level 80 at some point, just not anytime soon. I'm not really worried about him. This is the Slater that I use for my Red Gother association, because I think I can't remember who you are supposed to link with her, or him, or whatever you want to call him. You're supposed to use King if you have it, but sometimes, or with my PvP team at the moment, I run King on the team, so I use that Red Slater whenever I'm using King on the actual team. Marmus, I literally got him to UR a couple of days ago just in preparation for Final Boss Gother. He's actually a really good unit for the passive. Just the speed attribute, 30% increase to HP stats is really nice. Or no, it's not HP stats, it's just HP. But that's a really big thing. Like, it just makes him a lot more tanky and stuff like that for certain events. Obviously, he's not really great on his own, but you could potentially run him in PvP if you're using like a mono blue team or something like that, which isn't very relevant. Like, people use mono red if anything, but I don't know. He's cool for that. Like, he's not fantastic or anything. Kane is pretty okay. I literally just use him for his passive. I put him on the sub slot for death matches, just so that way I get the extra 10% attack related stats. So I don't know, he's just useful for that, because normally I don't end up losing a character through the raid unless it just goes terribly wrong, so having that extra stat increase is pretty nice. I have all of my Merlins maxed out. I don't have Red Merlin to 6-star just yet, because I really only use her for Red Demon. I was using her for the original guild boss, but now that it's changed over to Einik, I don't use her anymore for that, because I don't think he can actually be frozen. So they're all pretty good. I mean, well, Blue Merlin is not good, but she's good for Final Boss Gother, which is going on right now at the time of making this video, so I've got her maxed out pretty much. Obviously, Green Merlin is the one that you're probably going to use the most, because she's got the most use case. Having the extra ult orb at the beginning of the game is really nice on all your characters. She can take off ult gauge, which is really nice, and she has a shield that is almost impenetrable at level 3. Like, it's really hard to take down a level 3 shield from her. Her ultimate is okay. It's nothing great. I think I have her 2-6. Yeah. So, I mean, she does okay. If she was higher than that, she would do a lot more with her ultimate, but I don't really use her for ultimate because she kind of sits in the sub slot anyway. But I mean, it's nice to have if, you know, if you like, if she's your last character and you're really relying on her. I just recently pulled Fairy Helbram, like Red Helbram. I don't use him at all, but I've been like leveling him up here and there. I've just basically kind of been going through the box and putting stars on people. With this most recent event going on where they've been doing reduced stamina, I know they do it every couple of weeks or so, but this most recent time while I was farming gear, since I wasn't farming a lot of anything in particular, I would farm the stages where I could get the awakening materials for different people, and I was just going through and leveling up a bunch of stars on people to kind of help out my box in general. So I don't use Red Helbram. If I wanted to, I guess I could, but I don't want to dump the resources into him just to run Kingbrum team in PvP, just because I hate going against Kingbrum and I don't want to be that guy. But I mean, a lot of people use him, so whatever, do your thing. Jericho, probably my one and only. She is probably the unit that I used through the entirety of the campaign so far, the story mode. I'll probably stop using her whenever new stuff comes out. I know they're supposed to be releasing Chapter 10 somewhat soon, but I've kind of just taken her off the team at this point. She's pretty much used up her use case. I've had her 6-6 for a long time at this point, mainly just because I was dumb and I wasn't buying her dupe cards on sale. I pulled a couple of dupes of her in the beginning, and then I think I just used the gold coin shop to buy her dupe coins for 30 a piece, just because I was using her a lot. I don't regret that at all, actually, just because I got so much use case out of her. She's a really good unit in general, so I mean, I liked her. She's really good. I still use her like every now and then on just different stuff. Just depends on what it is. But most things, she's pretty much out of like the loop on now. There's other characters that do better stuff now. This Jericho is actually pretty good because she boosts attack-related stats on blue units. I'm actually using her as the sub-slot on my farming team at the moment. So just to get a little bit of extra attack, so that way I can hopefully beat the rotation in less rounds, so that way I can get more rewards over time. So that's kind of nice. Hauser is a really good unit. I really want to get him to level 80, but I think I'm going to focus on putting my SSR pendants into Mellie Otis at the moment, and then probably Hauser. And then after that, depending on what units I'm really focusing on, maybe them, or I'll just try to level up some of these other SSRs that I don't have to UR just yet. Because obviously the ultimate goal would be to have every unit as a UR, but I mean, that'll be a while down the road. This Blue Gila actually is really good. I was using her for my farming team before I got Blue Mellie Otis. She's a really, really good character, actually. I went ahead and pushed her up to UR 65, or yeah, UR 65. It was a couple of weeks ago at this point. I might not have should have done that with Blue Mellie Otis being out, and eventually I would have pulled him, which I have pulled him at this point, so I don't use Blue Gila anymore. But she's really nice because she's an association unit for Jericho, and I was using her a lot for that reason. But she was a really good farmer. She was good for that. So it is what it is. I have Green Gill Thunder at UR 60. I don't think I've even ever really used this character before. I know a lot of people like him because you can put him in the back, and it gives all allies defense-related stats up to he gives 30% defense-related stats to all your allies in PvP. So he really just runs as a sub-slot unit to bulk up your team. But I've never really ran a team like that. Normally I just run Merlin in the back, so it's nice to have him, I guess, if I want to run that option, but just not really my thing. This Gother right here is not great by any means, but I've actually leveled him up quite a bit on the Awakening and everything like that, just because he is the one Gother that I can associate with Escanor while still having Red Gother on my team, so that's kind of nice to have. I'll probably end up 6-starring him at some point, just whenever I get the resources for it, but I probably won't push him up any further as far as 60 goes. So Red Gother's next. Obviously, he needs no introduction. He's absolutely insane as a unit, just because of his invasion arrow skill, plus his attack skill or attack seal is very nice. And his ultimate is not too bad either, especially at this one because it depletes their entire ult gauge. So, very good unit. If you don't already have Red Gother, definitely buy him from the Platinum Coin Shop. He is worth it. You will use him on a lot of different teams. Green King. I didn't have this unit for a long time when I really wanted him. But now that I have him, he's really nice. I went ahead and pushed him up once from 60, just so that way he does a little bit better during Grey Demon. I want to build him some better equipment. Right now I'm just kind of exchanging him with different equipment that I already have, just whenever I want to use him. But I would like to build him like a crit set at some point, because I feel like crit sets do really well on Grey Demon. I could be wrong about that, but I'll make that mistake whenever I get to it, if it is a mistake. Blue King is probably within the top 3 units of the entire game. He's absolutely insane. His use case is phenomenal. You can obviously petrify at level 2 and 3, and level 3 is really nice because it does it for 2 turns. He does pretty good damage. The damage is actually the same on 1 and 2, so I mean, his level 1 card is still pretty good. He can remove debuffs obviously and heal at level 3 or 2 and 3. Very good unit. Plus, he's got Shatter, which ignores resistance on his ult, so it hits like a truck. So, very good unit. Plus, he's free. You literally get him just from playing the game. I've been working on trying to buy dupes for him out of the coin shop whenever he's on sale, which I think he is right now, but I've already bought the dupe. So, if you haven't and you're looking to upgrade your king, I recommend it. It's worth it. Red Elizabeth is okay just for her passive, just because it heals 10% of the max HP at the start of the next turn when you've taken damage. So, I don't know, it's helpful for like prolonging battles and stuff like that for certain events and stuff like that. Green Elizabeth is just a good healer in general. She's pretty nice to have on your team as a sort of like support character for certain events. She was pretty good in Final Boss King, but I don't think I had her at the time of doing that, so I didn't end up using her, but it is what it is. This is the SR Mellie Otis that you get at the very beginning of the game, so he's okay. He doesn't do anything like too crazy, but I think I've seen people use him in like very interesting use cases and stuff like that. He increases crit chance by 30% at the start of the next turn if the hero doesn't take any damage, so you can actually do some pretty cool things with him, just because his counter only lasts for 1 turn, but it also hits multiple times. So if they're using like an AoE team or something like that, and they use 3 AoE cards, he's going to hit, like he's going to retaliate off of that 3 different times, whereas the Green Mellie Otis only retaliates once, and then the stance is taken away. So he's pretty cool for that, but not great. You have to get him up to UR 65 just from playing the story mode, so that's the only reason he's really there. I'm using Hendrickson as an association for Lilia right now because I use Merlin on other people, so he's not great. I've just kind of been using him for that only. Eventually, I guess I'll push him up a little bit and maybe star him up some, so that way he'll actually help Lilia a little bit more. I did recently pull Valenti off of the Blue Lilia banner, so I haven't really done anything with her. I would like to actually get her up higher because she's got a lot of interesting use cases and stuff like that, as far as like mainly PvP goes, but I don't know. She's a cool unit. I do really like her design and everything like that. Her ultimate actually is very cool if you've not seen the animation for that. But yeah, she's really cool. She lowers resistance on characters, or she lowers her pierce rate by how much resistance she has. So pretty cool. She helps shut down Blue Meliodas teams. So you know, I actually really like Deldry. Like I like her whole gimmick that she charms characters, and then you can taunt and stuff like that. So it would be really, I really want to try to run like a team where I use Deldry to taunt like a blue Meliodas or a green Meliodas, and then counter with those characters. Like I think that would be a fun team to run, but I don't know how well it would do in actual PvP with the teams and stuff like that are going on right now. But I mean, it is what it is. I probably won't get around to doing it because I don't actually want to pump enough resources into her to actually get her to like be usable. But yeah, she's cool. Galland is really cool. Whenever the Red Arthur and Blue Galland banner came out on Global, I tried really hard to get Red Gother off of the banner, but I ended up pulling 2 Gallands. I don't think I even upgraded his ult at all, so I have 2 coins for him right now, but I'm still not going to. He's actually a really good unit. He hits really hard, and he helps shut down the Red Gother, which is kind of nice. But I don't really see him like ever anymore. He was a really good substitute for Escanor if you didn't pull him, which I guess he could still do some pretty good stuff. Like he's actually a really good unit, but I feel like he gets overshadowed a lot. Like people don't really want to use him anymore, which is, oh, it's whatever. There's other units that are far better, so it is what it is. Green Lilia, I literally just got her to UR60 during the Blue Lilia banner just so I could get her outfits for Blue Lilia. You know, pretty understandable, just because Blue Lilia is good, and she is really only useful in PvP because her passive skill only works in PvP. So she's not that great of a unit, so I wouldn't worry about leveling her up if you're thinking about it. But maybe if you want to use her in PvP, I don't know. You have to level this red bond up in the story mode. I actually don't mind this bond too much because he takes off an ult gauge, which is kind of nice. And he can do some pretty alright things, but he's not really like a good unit. I used to use him a little bit in the story mode at the beginning of the game, but I pretty much have moved on from that at this point. I leveled her up so that way I could get the outfits for Matrona Deanne, so that way I could try to push her up some, so that way I could help with the King Association, but she's not really that great. If you're going to go for a small DN, go for either the new green small DN that just came out, or go for Matrona DN, which even then, Matrona DN's not really that great anymore. So if you have blue, or if you have the green small DN, definitely work on her. If you hit the other 2 small DNs to UR, you can use the outfits from them. So that's kind of nice. A lot of people do like this blue Lizhawk. I don't really care for her that much. She's okay in certain use cases. A lot of people are using her right now for Final Boss Gother, but I don't want to dump any resources into her really, because I don't really think she's that great. Some people will use her for Hallex raids. No, not Hallex raids. They use her for whatchamacallit. They use her for Red Demon raids, which is okay, I guess. I see some people do really well with her, but not my preference. It's whatever. The green Ellie Hawk is actually pretty good. I think you start with her as well. She actually has some pretty decent skills. She's okay. She used to be really good in PvP when the game first launched, I think. But other than that, I don't think she's really that great anymore. Red Lizhawk is pretty good. She's okay for Hallex raids. I was gonna, the reason why she's so leveled up is because I was gonna use her for Hallex raids, but then I ended up getting Red Demon Meliodas and just took it from there. Blue Arthur was kind of my backup. I think I leveled up his ult to maximum first, so I was using him for the Merlin Association, but then my Red Arthur is much better now, so I use him. Blue Arthur's really just not good. I think he's an SR unit to begin with too, so he just kind of isn't nearly as good as the Red Arthur, obviously. I don't like Elaine, but I have her leveled up a little bit so that way I could use her during the Final Boss King event, but now that that is gone, I have not done anything with her since. I was actually using Jillian when I first started the game, and I bumped her up to UR then. And I'm glad I didn't I'm glad I didn't put any more resources into her than that, because she's really not that great for any other use cases. Like, her passive is pretty okay because she increases HP attribute allies by their HP by 30% if they're an HP attribute. So if they're green units, their HP stat goes up by 30%, which is kind of nice in certain situations. I was using her during Final Boss King as well. It was just nice to have her UR already, so I didn't have to put materials into her back then. But she's okay. Gustav is pretty good in certain situations. If you don't have Red Merlin, you can use her, or you can use Gustav for Red Demon. I was also using him for Guild Boss before Einik showed up, so he was okay for that as well. So he's okay. He's a pretty decent unit. You can use him as an association for Jericho and a couple of other units. I was using him for Jericho if I was running Gila already on the team or something like that, which I don't think I was ever, because I don't think there was really any teams that Gila was worth running on with Jericho at the same time. I've just recently been leveling up some of the rare units, so Golgius is okay because of his passive. I don't actually use him for anything, but he's okay, I guess. I like his outfits and stuff. Twigo's okay. His passive is pretty decent. A lot of people run him as the sub-slot in PvP for mono red. And Alioni is actually probably one of the better rare units, but I was just kind of leveling them up because I had a ton of rare pendants in my stash and I didn't want to throw them away, so I figured I would just use them. So there they are. Green Helbram is alright. Eventually, I think Easton, whenever she comes out, she's going to overshadow Green Helbram for most of his use cases, but I feel like the only thing people use him for is his attack buff skill, and I only used it whenever I was doing Guild Boss, so he's pretty much out of the question now. I think this is the original Jericho that I started using when I first started playing the game, before I pulled the green SSR, so she's okay. She pretty much does the exact same thing as the blue SR Jericho, but she does it for strength attribute characters. So, I mean, if you want to use her as like a sub-slot character, you could potentially do that. This Griamore is probably the best Griamore there is in the game, just because he helps buff HP-related stats in PvP by 15%. So, he's pretty much just there to help make your team tankier, kind of like Gilthunder is, but I think he does a little bit better of a job, to be honest, because he does all HP-related stats, whereas Gilthunder is just HP, maybe? No, he's defense-related stats. So, I don't know. I think I would much rather have the HP-related stats. But, yeah. I was going to level this Gila up more to help with association for Jericho, but now that Jericho's kind of run out of use case, I'm probably not going to worry about her. She's okay. I leveled her up to get the UR outfit as well for my blue Gila whenever I was using her a lot for farming. Probably not the smartest investment, but I want to try to get them all UR anyway at some point, so it's not like it's that big of a deal. I don't remember why I got this go through to UR specifically, but he's not very useful for much, and I think I basically was just doing it to get the UR costumes, but at this point I've actually got an extra UR costume because of the final boss, so a little bit of a waste there, but it is what it is. It's already done with, so I can't do anything about it now. I was using CS Bon a lot whenever he first came out. He's actually pretty decent in certain situations. I still see a team on PvP like every once in a while that runs him and like utilizes him to a pretty decent potential, but I feel like there's just way too many good units out now that like can just completely demolish him, so it's not really worth using anymore. I do like him as a unit. I really like his like character, and like the armor on this set and the nunchucks is super cool, but I don't know, cool factor doesn't get you anywhere in the game, especially if your unit kind of drops off, so he's okay. This red DN is not great. I'm pretty sure I just leveled her up to UR so that way I could get my blue DN an extra costume, because I was using blue DN for a farming team there for a little bit, but I think I ended up just dropping her off and running Gother instead for a little while. She's okay. I really do like DN as a character though, so I don't know. I simped a little bit and bought the SSR maid outfit. Wrong choice. Shouldn't have done that, but oh well, too late. I like this unit actually a lot. This Blue Elizabeth is pretty cool just because of the gimmick of, like, you keep her weak and then she dies and you gain 2 ult orbs and it completely heals your stuff. I thought that was actually a really cool gimmick, but obviously with the game already being out in Japan and stuff like that and people knowing what she does not do good. Like, people pretty much know how to counter her and everything, so it's just not really worth running at this point, but I like her. She's cool. I did not reroll for Green Mellie Otis when the game first came out, so he is not leveled up at all. I literally just got him to UR 60 for the fun of it, and I don't use him at all. So if I had rerolled, I probably would have used him more, but I did not. So yeah. Other than that, I've got a couple of the slime units that aren't leveled up just yet. I'll probably get them up eventually. Death Pierce is pretty okay in certain situations, but a lot of these other units just didn't feel like a priority to me. Slater might be okay if I want to run him over the red Slater, but I just don't want to pump the materials into him at the moment. And yeah, everyone else is just kind of on the back burner for the moment, and I'll try to level them up at some point whenever I get around to it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you want to, I'll show you my teams. So that's pretty much my main team. The equipment on them is not, like, Escanor doesn't have any equipment on because King's got it on right now. So I think my max CC right now is like about 155. So it's nothing too crazy because I don't work on equipment as much as I should. I don't remember why I have just Escanor on this team. I can't remember at all, actually. There's my Guild Boss team, which actually isn't my Guild Boss team. It's what I'm using right now for Final Boss Gother. Normally I have a Guild Boss team there, but I haven't been doing Guild Boss, or like since Gother's been out for like a couple of days, I haven't done Guild Boss yet with her, or while the Final Boss has been going on, so whatever. There's my AoE farm team. Obviously these two are the stars of the show. Hauser's a really nice unit as well, and then you can just run Hauser by himself to farm food on the lowest difficulty, so that's kind of cool. I've been meaning to change this association because I keep going in and not having that. But there's my Red Demon team, Grey Demon team, and Halleck's team, respectively. And then there's my PvP team, and then I think the Elite team is the exact same just because I auto-set it. And then I've never done a friendly match, so there you go. That's pretty much it. I know this ran a little bit long, kind of a different video. I'm not expecting anything to come out of this video at all. Just thought it would be kind of cool to document this, and then maybe in the future, whenever new units come out, or I've upgraded my box a lot further than it already is, it would be cool to look back on this and see how much progress I've made. So I don't know. Yeah, that's basically it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I don't expect anybody to make it to the end of this video because it's long and kind of, pointless for people to watch. But anyway, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.